Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of Toy Collector Review with me, Sergeant Geek. And today we're going to be looking at a really awesome figure right here. This one is from the AliExpress. It is the knockoff version of Devastator. And this is a really cool one. I actually like this figure a lot, and it is pretty massive. So I know most people, they usually go and do an episode on their channels per vehicle, per figure from the Devastator set. We're not going to do that because that's just going to take far too long. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a crash course and get straight into all of them right here, right now. So let's go ahead. Let's break down this Devastator and let's check out each figure individually, starting with their robot modes. Alright, so we got Devastator broken down, and the first one we're going to take a look at here is Long Haul. Now, as you can see, Long Haul makes up the lower part of the body, or pretty much the main part of the body, so he is a big bulky bot here. Now, as you can see, very nicely done. He's got lots of detail all over him. He doesn't have much in detail in the back of his dump truck, as you can see here, but there's a reason for that when he's in his alt mode. But once again, very nicely done. Now you can see with the hands, not much is done with the hands, very simple, as you can see right there. Let's get into some articulation with him. He can look left or right. He doesn't really look up or down, but he does have a plate, so he can look down, but all he does is look into his chest. Now his hands, as you can see here at the elbow, he doesn't have any other elbow bend but that. His arms can do a 360 rotation. Now the legs, which is pretty much the beef of him, as you can see here, it's really tight and ratchety here on the legs, so I don't want to mess anything up. Let's move his arm out the way. He can do the splits right there, as you can see. Very nice. Now, like I said, his ratchets are really tight, so I got to be careful with them. Like, once again, he is a knockoff. He isn't the Combiners or Devastator, so I'm trying to make sure that I don't break anything. But as you can see, that's pretty much how far he can go forward. Let's get it back. See if I can get him to go back a little bit. I don't think there is much going back. Like I said, everything's super tight. Oh, his head went down. Let's see if we can get his head back up. We don't want to transform him. We want him in his robot mode. Alright guys, he's having difficulty going back, but here's his knee. He has a 90-degree bend at the knee, which is really cool. Really nice. Like I said, the arms are very flimsy. But he's a very cool and bulky robot. Oh, he's not standing right. Let's go ahead. Let me get him to stand right, because we still have 5 other figures to go through for this set. So, come on, Long Haul. Work with me. There we go. Now, coming up next, we're going to bring up the next member of this group, and that is Bone Crusher. And here he is right here. As you can see, my camera, let me get close up. Once again, I really do like the design of these figures, because they are copies of the original Combiner Wars Devastator. They transform and everything the same. Only thing is, these are a little bit flimsier than the original, but they still do look good, and I like the way they actually try to keep the G1 look to the figures. Now, as you can see, his arm does go out to the side all the way. Can do a 360 rotation. He does have a double jointed elbow, so he can fold up, and that's due to transformation. Once again, very cool. He doesn't have any wrist articulation, but that's fine, because most people don't keep these guys in these modes anyway. As you can see, his leg, he can go all the way forward, and he can go all the way back. Let's show that right now. There we go. He can go all the way back. And he does have a bend at the knee, but his knee is very high, as you can see here. But he does have a bend there as well, so he can bend his legs. He's not straight legged. And his feet does have a little bit of tiltage on it, so you can't tilt his ankles. Once again, just like the Bone Crusher from the G1 where the legs were the tracks. Very cool indeed. Let's get him posed up. Let's get him to stand on his own. Put him back there with Long Haul. Now let's bring up the next one, and this here is gonna be Scavenger. So let's bring Scavenger up here. There we go. Now once again, very G1 looking, very nicely done. But you do notice that the logo on the chest is upside down on this guy. No matter, I'm gonna get the logos for these guys to actually make them Decepticons. But once again, very nice. You can see his little bucket there. Very awesome looking, and this character in the G1 did have purple legs. I like the way they did that with them. Very cool indeed. Very nicely done. Lots of detail to him. But once again, this one's head's on a ball joint, so he got some weeble wobble on there. Once again, he can go straight out at the elbows, at the shoulders, I mean, my bad. And he can do 360 rotation. Now the arms, he can go 90 degrees. As you can see here. Now once again, he doesn't have any wrist articulation. Now with the legs, he can go out all the way to the side. Now mine is a little loose, so he does flop over, but he can do the splits. And that's what we need to know. And just like Bone Crusher, he does have that short thigh, but he does have a knee, and he can bend 90 degrees at it, and he does have ankle tiltage. Once again, very cool. He does have the Scavenger chest, which is real cool, but as you can see there, the logo is upside down. I don't know why that happened, but like I said, we're eventually gonna take that and I'm gonna correct that problem. So let's get him back here with his buddies. Make sure he can stand. There we go. Now the next one we're gonna be looking at, we're gonna take a look at Hook. Now Hook is a cool Constructicon. I actually like Hook, but this one, as you can see, his arms hollowed out, very flimsy. He has that fold for an elbow, but standing still like the way he is and you don't bend the elbows, he's an okay figure. This one is not the greatest, but I understand what they had to do with him in order to get what they wanted out of the Devastator figure. And like I said, if you think these guys are flimsy here, these are pretty much mocked up right out of the Combiners Wars Devastator. So these guys look almost identical to them. Maybe a few different things, but pretty much the same. As you can see here, head on a ball joint. Now with the tires and that back part right there, that's about as far as he can go at the shoulder, but he does have a 360 rotation. There you go. Now once again at the elbow, he has that hinge, very flimsy, no articulation in the wrist or anything, but that just looks very weird right there, having his arm, looks like his arm's broken to me. Very weird, but I leave it straight when he's in this position right here. But once again, very nicely done at the legs. He can do the splits because his legs are on a ball joint there as well. He can go all the way forward, and he can go all the way back. There we go. As you can see, the legs are painted because you can see the green inside there. And he does go almost 90 degrees at the knee. And with the foot, he doesn't have any ankle tiltage, but he can tilt the toes up and down. And he has a big hollow section in his legs there as well. Let's go ahead and put his foot back on, connected right, so we can get him to stand up and join the rest of his crew in the back. Okay, we get him to stand up straight. There we go. Oh, fix him up real fast. Alrighty, there he goes. Now next we're gonna bring out is Mixmaster. Mixmaster is another cool one, but this one does look kind of weird. Look at his face for a second. Tell me what you think about that, because what you're gonna see on the rest of this figure is gonna be very weird. Once again, Very nice looking in the front. Let's take a look at the side now. Here it comes. Let's bring them down. You got that big cement mixing tank back there. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, this kind of looks like a construction version of the Waspinator, which is really funny. If he was able to turn into a bug transformer, this would probably be the Waspinator right here, just the way it is. But there you go. Very weird decision not to fold up or do anything with the cement tank. But once again, his face, his head, you can go left or right on this one. He can't go up or down. And the arms, with all the stuff on the top of the shoulders, he can only go so far out to the side. But like all of them, he does have a 360 rotation at the shoulder. And just like Hook and Long Haul, he has that flimsy hinge for an elbow. The arms is where they really didn't do these figures justice. The legs, the chest, the heads, they went all out on those. Just when they got to the arms on a lot of these figures, it's like they called it in. But once again, he's not going to be in much in this position anyway. This is not the reason why I brought these guys to be individual robots. And as you can see with the legs, once again, pretty much the same articulation as all the other guys so far. There we go. Now let's go ahead and let's get him ready to stand up on his own and join the crew. There we go. He has to lean forward a little bit because of that cement tank. If you put him too far, leaning too straight up, he will topple over. So you gotta be careful with that. And now we go to the leader of the Constructicons, and this here is Scrapper. Now once again, this is very nicely done. This is another one of my favorite Constructicons. He looks really cool. He looks like he just jumped out of the cartoon. Very nicely detailed, this one here. I actually like it a lot, the way they did it. It's very cool. As you can see, he's almost like a representation of the G1 cartoon and the G1 figure. It's a very cool figure. I like this one. Out of all the Constructicons, the way they're formed, he has to be one of my favorite. Him and Scavenger, even though, like everybody else, like I said, the arms are real flimsy and everything. His arms are a little bit more solid. As you can see, his head's on a ball joint. And just like all the other guys, he can't go out to the side. He does have 360 rotation. Just gotta watch it with the shovel back there. He does have a little bit of an elbow twist, but he doesn't have an elbow bend. That's the only thing, which doesn't bother me much because, like I said, when you pose him up, standing up, he looks really cool and he looks just like the counterpart from the cartoon. Very nice. I actually like this figure a lot. As you can see, the articulation is pretty much the same as the rest of the bots in the Constructicons his size. There you can see the bend at the knee, about 90 degrees, look, exactly 90 degrees it looks like. Alright, very nicely done. Let's go ahead. Oh, you can see the little tilted shit. So let's set him up to stand with the rest of the guys back there. Alright guys, so that's them in their robot mode. So let's go ahead, let's transform these guys, and before we get into Devastator, let's go ahead and check out their alt modes.
The Transformers will return after these messages.
Diaclone 隊に建設者ロボが完成。ブレインロボと共に地球を守れ。読者合体。行け建設者ロボ。戦えブレインロボ。ダイアクロン建設者ロボ。
We now return to the Transformers.
Alright guys, so first let's take a look at their alt modes, and here is Bone Crusher, Once again, a very basic design, but very cool nevertheless. He is pretty much all Constructicon green, which as you can see is kind of like blinding on the camera. Not really much I could do about that. Do apologize about that. But let's go ahead and bring out the next Constructicon. Here we have Scrapper, and as you can see, he's an excavator. Very nicely done. Very nice indeed. You got the purple tracks, purple window with the green body and lots of detail. You can see the articulation you get with his scoop. As with Bone Crusher, not much articulation. You can just tilt back the shovel on his, but as you can see with Scavenger, you get a little bit more play with them. Now the next one we're going to bring up is Scrapper. Once again, the leader of the Constructicons, and a very nicely done alt mode as well. As you can see here, you can see a little bit of the robot chest on the bottom. Very nicely done. You got that little gap in the back. It's not deal breaker for me, but I wish they could have done something to fill it up. But as you can see, once again, you got a little bit of playability with the scoop. You got 3 points where you can actually articulate it, which is very cool. I'm not sure if the G1 had that. I think it was only 1 point of articulation. I'm not 100% sure, but if it did, it did. Once again, this is very cool right here. Now the next one we're gonna bring out is the cement truck, and that is Mixmaster. Now this one they did oddly weird, because I thought at first when I picked this guy up, I thought that was the front and it was very weirdly done. But then watching a couple of videos on it, I realized this is the front of the truck right here, which is weird that they would actually do it like this. I've never seen a cement truck like this anywhere, and the original one wasn't like this, but it's weird that this is like the back here, and the bottom where the cement actually pours out is the front of the truck. It is what it is. It's okay, nothing fancy or anything, but it gets the job done. Maybe they did it for structural purposes on the Devastator figure. Now next we bring out Hook, and Hook is once again a very nicely done figure, as you can see here. Once again, they got that hole in the back. Can't really do nothing about it now. Wish they would have done something earlier. Would have been a lot better. But as you can see, he's got some black in there, letting you know pretty much where you're going to be doing the transformations for him. But nevertheless, pretty cool, just like the G1. They're like upgraded G1 figures, which is something I like. I do like the G1 figures, and I like the way they try to keep that with them in these new figures, and with the cartoon aesthetics to them as well. That's very nicely done. Here's a look at the bottom. Let's get them over here. And the last one is the big monster. This here is Long Haul as the ginormous dump truck. So let's bring him out. And as you can see, a monster of a dump truck. Now, do they have dump trucks this size to scale with the other vehicles? Yeah, I've seen YouTube videos of monster-sized dump trucks. So to have one as big as this one to the other vehicles could work. It could be a possibility. There's never saying never, but once again, they did a very nice job on this one as well. As you can see, here's the bottom. Barely see any of the robot there. And on the top, you see the reason why he had those openings on his dumpster, so you can fit those points there. But once again, very nicely done. Now, once again, before we get into the Devastator, let's go ahead and let's compare him to another third-party Constructicon I got that I've been building alongside this one here. I'm missing 2 of the figures, so we're not going to compare those 2, but let's go compare the ones that I already have. Alright, so this other company has done their take on the Constructicons and Devastator, and they're quite large, and I've been hunting down all the different figures. Right now I only have 4, so we're going to compare those 4 to the ones in the Constructicons that we're doing right now. So let's go ahead and let's start that right now with Bone Crusher. Okay, so here's my third party Bone Crusher. Let's bring in this one here, and you can see the size difference between the 2 right there. Let's go ahead and get a look from the side view. Here he is once again, and here he is with the Bone Crusher from this one here. Once again, just towers over him. Now let's go ahead and let's take a look at Hook. Here's Hook once again, for those of you who don't know. And here's Hook from this set of Constructicons. Very nice. Let's go take a look at side view real fast. And let's bring in this Hook. Once again, very noticeable size difference. Now we're gonna bring in Scrapper. I'm sorry, Scrapper. And there goes Scrapper from this set. Let's get that side view of these two. And bring in this set Scrapper. Very nice. All right, let's go ahead and bring in Scavenger. This is the last one of the ones I've got. Let's bring in this set Scavenger. As you can see the different sizes between the two. Let's go ahead and get that side view. And bring in this set Scavenger. All right, guys. So now what I'm pretty sure most of you have been waiting for. Let's go ahead. Let's combine these guys and let's check out the Devastator that these guys make.
The Transformers will return after these messages.
In the world of the Transformers, nothing is what it seems. Meet the Constructicons, 6 evil robots that transform into one mechanical giant.
Transformers, more than meets the eye. The Transformers, robots in disguise.
It's Devastator, 6 Constructicons and 1.
Each sold separately.
Devastator's attacking.
The Transformers sold separately from Hasbro.
We now return to the Transformers.
Alright guys, so here he is, the third-party Devastator, and this guy is huge. Let me just try to get his firearm in his hand right now. Oh, kind of hard. Let me bring him up closer. Let me get him set up with his rifle, and then we'll take a full look at the Devastator figure. He takes up the whole little shooting booth or photo booth, whatever you want to call it, I use to shoot my videos and shoot my footage. I have to actually put the camera all the way back, as you're going to see here in a second. Let's go ahead, let's set him up. He's pretty much all the way to the back of the box. And now let's pull the camera out a little bit. I'm actually sliding the camera back. Let's angle it down a little bit. There we go, so we get a full view of him. Once again, this is a really cool and big Devastator, probably the biggest Transformer I have right now. He's actually bigger than the Fall for Cybertron Bruticus, I believe. Now, I would like to compare the two, but I don't have Bruticus combined. He's actually separated because I couldn't fit him on the shelf. So let's go ahead and let's compare him to some other figures I got. Alright guys, just for fun, let's bring in a core class Optimus Prime. As you can see how much obviously he towers over him. Looks very silly, but it's funny nevertheless. Now let's go ahead and bring in another Transformer. Pretty much to get the scale, let's keep him in his alt mode. Let's bring in Tiger Tracks. Now once again, as you can see here, he towers over him. But let's go ahead and let's do one more comparison of another figure. Alright guys, so here is my third-party Devastator along with another third-party Devastator. Now this one is accurate to the G1. I've purchased this one back in 2000 and it's really cool. He's been with me this whole time, and so this one makes the second Devastator I actually own in my collection. But as you can see, the first one there is actually to scale with the G1. Everything about it is authentic to G1, except this one is all plastic, no metal parts. Now I got the Combiner Wars style Devastator behind him. You can see the size difference in the two. And guys, I'm also still building that other third-party Devastator. And you saw the scale of the vehicles to the Combiner Wars Devastator. So just imagine how big he's gonna be compared to all three of these. It's gonna look like an epic photo. I can't wait to get those other two Constructicons and finish that one up right there. But the cool thing with this Devastator here is you can take some crazy epic shots. So let's go ahead. I'm just gonna show you a couple of shots that I did here in the studio, and we're gonna wrap it up here. Alright guys, so that's going to wrap up another episode of Toy Collector Review. Once again, is this figure worth the money to get him? I believe so. He is a lot cheaper than the Hasbro one. He's almost the same. There are a couple of slight differences between them, but nothing really that pops out unless you're actually looking for them. You couldn't really tell. It is a really cool figure. Now, once again, mind you guys, whenever you shop on AliExpress, you guys actually check out the stores, check the reviews on some of these guys. I know a lot of them are fake, but once you find a good store that sells good products, try to follow the store, try to keep it in your listing, so this way you can continue getting good products and not get bamboozled or screwed over. I found a couple of good stores that work for me. Hopefully you guys that are out there buying these third-party figures found a couple of stores that work for you. This is a really cool figure. I like them. I purchased the G1 third-party figure, like I said, back in the 2000s when I was traveling around. I saw him in one of these Chinese stores in the malls. Saw him for 10 bucks, thought it was cool, picked him up, and he's been with me traveling around for 20 years. I've still managed to keep him with me, even through deployments and everything, and is a really cool figure. And I'm so glad I still have him in my collection. Even though he is third party, he's still really cool. Now, once again, I can't wait to get that other Devastator going, because he's going to be even taller and more monstrous than this Combiners War style Devastator here. But once again, it's really cool. And as always guys, we come to that part of the video. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, become a member of this channel. Hit that bell notification so you guys can be notified every time I put out a new video. And guys, share these videos in all your social media. Let's get the word out there. And guys, if you like the content that I'm putting out there, go ahead and smash that like button. It does help with the YouTube algorithm. And for those of you guys who are watching this on Rumble, go ahead and smash that Rumble button. Once again guys, if there's anything in particular you guys would like to see on this channel, go ahead and hit me up in the comment section below, and I will do my best to try to get it out there for you guys. Once again, I'm Sergeant Geek, and I'm signing off.